Hello, everyone. All right. So, as you can see, there are only three persons in front of your screen. This is because the fourth member suddenly decided to leave the group with no warning and no explanation. So, for the next few episodes, it is going to be us, and we will be trying to add another player, but if we fail, well, I believe that the three of them are stable enough to survive the campaign, as long as the player survives. I know, it's not ominous at all.
Telling me I can't just make dumb decisions all the time?
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing.
Oh, well, you can. Your character will die, but the player will survive.
The sound's working, by the way.
Alright, thanks. Alright, so, for those returning to us, it is good to have you back with us. For those joining us for the first time, welcome among us. It is a pleasure to have you with us. Pull a chair, sofa, log. I don't know how it is where you are, but you're always welcome. And if you're wondering what this is going to be about, because I don't know, could be a few reasons why you don't know what this is. It's about Dungeons and Dragons and a group of persons playing Dungeons and Dragons. So this is, if it's not for you, well, sorry, but it's all we have to offer. So this is about everything I have to say. Yeah. So, last episode. Finally, after months of travel for the characters and roughly half a year for the players, they have finally managed to reach the garden. Yeah. It deserves an applaud. And half of the original group is alive. That is also a good news. They finally managed to reach the place where the entrance to the garden was, and surprisingly enough, they found that no one else seemed to be there, with the exception of a gnome examining this mysterious archway made out of vegetation. We'll just call it like that. This enigma, however, didn't last very long, as one of the party members decided to just run in and hope this would not end in a big, powerful flash of light. And it didn't, fortunately. The party found itself stepping inside the garden itself, which seemed to be a very long way from where they were. They met the keeper of the garden, a tall humanoid figure, which some of the party members have started to believe that they are most likely all sentient construct. They were greeted, evaluated slightly. Each one gave their names and were led to a incredibly large forested area inside this garden. Dinner's is not going down very well. Sorry about that. They started exploring this. They met a few new possible friends. One of which being a dragonborn who seemed to be sporting a look that felt a bit somewhere between wizard and monk. They also met a cleric, dwarven, who seemed to be, well, at least he seemed to have a very sour way of looking at them, but they found he was kind enough. Not overly, but still. They also met another adventurer, a turtle, something very rare within the Shattered Continent. This turtle was also a paladin of the Oath of the Ancient. They kept on exploring. Fisher showed everyone a bit of his personality and also that he could make friendship with fish without drowning. Audience found his way to his room, and then after that tried to find his way to a communal area. Unfortunately, he got extremely lost and was forced to ask for help. Shortly after, the rest of the party were shown to their room. They entered it, made it their own, and exited their room, knowing that they had 2 nights to become familiar with the garden. And so, everyone left to their own exploration in their own way. Valtteri, if I remember, decided to go back to the Arboretum. And Fisher, if I remember correctly, decided to stay a bit in his room.
I headed off in the direction of the libraries.
Library, yes, of course. Alright, and audience decided to go to the biggest tavern inside the garden, hoping to find people they knew. And so, this is where we all left off. We're going to start with audience, as you did your best to make your way to the tavern. Took you a bit of time, but you eventually managed. It's a bit more of a labyrinth than you expected, especially the living quarters. But eventually you find yourself entering what initially looks like a small room, but it's only a entrance area. And after a few steps, you enter into a very, very large, multi-story high tavern, where you can easily see in the middle there are a good variety of people from all sorts of race. Everyone is talking. It's not exactly the midnight party in there, but it's still lively. It's around noon. A lot of people are here to eat in a communal area, share probably stories. On the first floor where you are, you can see a few tables, a very spacious area in the middle, probably where some people will eventually perform later tonight. It certainly looks ideal for a stage. Beyond this, you can see a desk where a lot of people go to order foods or drink. Of course, around this ring, you can also see a lot of table, a few people there. But as I've said, it's a multi-leveled tavern. So you can also see people on the balconies overlooking this stage area at the center. There are fewer people on the upper levels, but still you can see a few people just hanging around the edge of this of these balconies, just looking down, seeing who's there. Occasionally you can see someone just hey, and you hear someone responding from the first floor, and this is the general feel of what you see. Another thing that sort of stands out, contrary to the rest of the garden, the tavern seems to be made out of wood. So there's a little bit more cozier feeling to it. And just above the counter, you see something written there. And I'd say make an intelligence roll.
My favorite.
Yes.
Starting off with my favorite rolls. Ooh. So a nat 1 minus 1 is a 0.
That's good. All right. We start strong.
We start excellently.
So you look at this above the. You look at this engraving above the front counter and say, "Oh wow! Well, now I have a good idea why this is called a garden, because it is written in bold letters just above the garden."
Okay. I will look around. I will scan the room to see if I recognize anyone or if they're all just unknown adventurers.
All right. Yeah, for the most part, most of them are people you do not recognize. You see few humans. One of them looks like, most likely, someone a bit roguish. You see what is most likely a bard. You also see... Oh, my microphone is in the way. You also see a half-orc sitting on one of the table. I've never seen him before, but he looks a bit like rangery type. Light armor. He's not wearing any weapons, but from the cloak he's wearing and just the general feel of him, feels like he spends a lot of time in nature, but not the same kind of a lot of time as Valtteri. This is mostly what you see that feels like adventurers on this level. There are a few people that, oddly enough, don't feel like adventurers at all. They just look like they're citizen you'd meet inside a city. You see humans, gnome, dwarves, probably half-elf, as it doesn't feel quite elvish, but still, right now that's about what you see.
Alright. It's not recognizing anyone I know. I'll kind of shout out into their tavern as I recognize, kind of throwing my arms wide. Greetings, adventurers, citizens, my friends. I am audience. All your great tales and conquests, and then kind of stride into the inn and up to the barkeep.
Well, of course you draw attention as you do this. Everyone turns around, looks at you. You hear someone shyly answer, "Greeting! It's going to be an interesting next few days with you. Take a seat."
Alright.
You hear a few people,
You'll see.
a few whispers. Yeah, I don't know. Just a few whispers.
Few whispers. All right, I'll walk over. How many people are sitting at the table with the person that told me to take a seat?
Actually, you heard that coming from one of the upper floor.
Oh, I'll look up. See who said it.
You see a. You see what looks like a young woman with red hair just waving at you. She's wearing very regal clothes, though, so something that feels very cleric.
All right. Already getting in with the royalty. I like it. All right. No, I'm kidding. I'll say, absolutely, I will be up in a moment. And if you want ales, drinks, some food, I'll shout up to them again. Booming voice.
All right. Yeah, sure. Well, I guess you're new here because I've never seen you. So, whatever you feel like trying, we'll share the meal.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. I'll walk over to the barkeep. If there is a barkeep, I actually don't know if there is, but I assume there's some tavern owner.
Yes, absolutely. You see one of those tall fellow with the black cloak at the counter.
All right. I'll walk up and I'll be like, "My good man, any recommendations on a excellent dish or drink?"
Yes. Well, this is always a bit hard since you've just arrived here. I don't know very well your tastes. We have a variety of food. I am told they come from all around your world. So if there's any favorite that you have, or if you'd like to taste something from a region that you've never been,
I'll say, give me something. Give me a good pairing of something exotic, both the drink and food. Of course, make the drink alcoholic. I'll throw him a little wink.
Yes, of course. I was not expecting different. Very well, very well. Do you want to take this yourself to the table, or do you want us to bring it to you?
Oh, I can. Well, how many people were up there at that table again? Like, how many could I see? 2, 3.
Well, from your angle, you only saw 2 people, but you were only seeing half of the table.
All right, I won't up. I'll say, how many people are on the table upstairs with the red-haired girl, cleric?
Yes. There are currently 3 people sitting at that table.
All right, four plates and drinks. Why don't you? I'll carry 2, and we can have someone else carry another 2. Wouldn't want to spill anything.
Very well, very well. He turns around, looks at a door behind him, and said, yes, we're gonna need some help to carry a plate of exotic food. I believe this gentleman comes from Estrin. Yes. And he probably knows northern food, so let's go with something from the south. Very well. So he gathers stuff. You see him just take 4 mugs, put them in front of them. Let me see. Maybe we'll go with something from the west. All right. The barrels over there. Yes. They've just come in. I'm pretty sure it's exotic, at least. Comes from a very strange place. We're going to see. Apparently he's choosing. Yes, he's choosing. Yes, I know. Yes, all right. So, all right, thank you. So he takes the bottle and fills him. It's a rather large bottle. Feels like those medicine bottles that they had roughly 70 or 60 years ago, but it's almost the size of a pony keg. But this person, this construct just takes it with one hand and just starts pouring drink inside each of the cup. And you see 4 plates coming in, and you have no idea what this is. One thing looks like a fruit with a weird purplish color. There's something wiggly. It's not wiggling as it's still alive. It just wiggles. Whenever he touches the plate, you see it.
Something like a little gelatinous.
Yeah, probably something like that. Another thing looks like a piece of meat, but honestly, you've only ever seen white and red meat. This looks slightly blue. And you see a few... well, they look like rocks, but he assures you it's edible.
Okay. I will take 2 of the plates and 2 of the cups and kind of start walking upstairs with them.
Alright, he turns around. Yeah, just follow him. It's going... Alright. You see one of the... another black cloak individual just taking 2 plates, placing them on top one hand, taking the 2 drinks in another hand, and he just follows you.
Alright, I will head up to the table upstairs.
Alright, so you arrive near the table. You can clearly see what the 2 persons are. You recognize the woman with the red hair from up close. You can see that she's probably very young, maybe like 19, 20 at most. Mm-hmm. She's accompanied by a... I lost my...
How old am I?
Alright. She's accompanied by someone that looks like a civilian. Human, looks like. From the clothes he's wearing, he probably works in a shop, as he's well protected against what you'd say are abrasive, probably material. His forearms and his hands are well protected. He's wearing sort of leathery gloves and forearm protection. And you see an elf. This one looks a lot more distinguished. Of course, as with most elves, it's very hard to determine just how old he really is. He looks fairly young, but for elves, young can be anything between 100 and 300 years old. From the way he's dressed, most likely a wizard, sorcerer, you're not sure. In the arcane business.
Very well.
So the young woman just says, well, sit down.
I'll say, thank you. I'll look at the food. I'm saying I have no idea what any of this is. I asked for something exotic that pairs well, so I hope you all enjoy, and I'll kind of pass out the 2 dishes.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, we're all adventurers and travelers, so let's be adventurous. And she just takes something and take a cup and looks inside, smells it. Oh boy. All right, let's go. So she takes one of those things that looks like a rock, and oddly enough, it looks very hard to just bite, but once the bite has been taken, you hear her say, it's actually quite chewy. Not bad. Feels a little bit sugary. Probably a treat. The drink, well, let's all drink to this new companion. You see the elf...
I'll drink to you.
You see the elf just raises glass... I'm sorry, his mug actually, and he has a bit of an annoyed look to him, but not annoyed in the sense that he's gonna start being rude, but... And you see this person say, oh, well, I've just finished my day for now, so why not? Give me a drink. And he takes one, and everyone just cheers, and you see everyone else drink. The cleric just goes at it very gently, just take a few sips. Very interesting flavor. It's an alcohol for sure. It's even a bit strong, even for your taste. Not to say that you don't like it, but it's a bit stronger than you expected just by looking at it. There's oddly enough, a bit of a flowery bouquet that comes out of it. But other than that, it's not bad. It's very strange. You've never tasted anything like it.
I'll take a swig of that, and also take a bite of the like gelatinous or the jiggling thing.
All right. The jello-y thing feels a bit odd when you just take a bite of it. It just melts in your mouth and just falls apart. It's a bit of a spicy smell. Taste. A very strong contrast between the taste and these apparently spices that are inside.
My
Spiced
character
jello.
loves it. It's the best thing he's ever tasted. I just rolled to
Wow.
see how much he liked it. I rolled a nat 20.
Oh wow! So you've just learned that you really like the spiced jello from the west,
Yeah.
from the south. Sorry.
I'll go, this is amazing. Some of the best food I've ever had here. You gotta try this spicy jello. Ever.
This spicy.
That
wiggly
sounds
stuff.
so gross.
Listen, it might not be your taste, but it's audience.
Apparently, audience likes thing with a lot of spices in it.
Fire. She likes dragons. I don't know. There's some connection there.
Strong thing, Dragonborn. They're either don't do it or completely do it. So it's spiced gelatine from the south.
As we eat all.
Sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say as we eat, I'll turn to the newcomers. I'll be like, so where do you hail from? How did you reach the garden?
The cleric is the one that speak first. I come from just a few town away from Groshill. It's actually a place that I've visited quite often. But I was adventuring more to the south when I received the letter. Very odd, as no one knew that I was there. But they seemed to be, very capable of reaching me. And then, of course, there were the dreams after. Always the same dream with the object and the vault, and very mysterious. So, of course, we all get into this because we're a bit curious about the world. So, I had to come.
Of course. I'll turn to the others. Any others wish to share? Not, I can tell.
The elven wizard takes a moment to say something and says, I come from the elven forests. I also received this letter. My home village is closer to the north, to the northern areas of the forest. I was there to make a few more studies. I had just come back from adventuring. From another island chain, as it was. And I was in the tower where I studied, and I received this letter. Very mysterious, as our lovely friends just said. not a lot of people know where to find us within our territories. And of course, as a wizard, the coin was very intriguing. So I decided to make my way.
Fascinating.
Last one, you hear, I'm not like you, I'm not an adventurer. I actually just own one of the store in the commercial district. Mostly play with plants, but it's mostly my coworker who handles the mixing of the ingredients.
Still a noble profession. Love store owners. They're the ones who, of course, supply our adventures. Couldn't survive without them.
In some case, yeah. Definitely. The most popular article in every chemist shop is always the healing potion. And
can't live without them.
And anti-poison.
I'll say, well, I am, as I said, of course, I am audience, and I come from a small town out next to the Dragonborn's capital. But I was out actually. Let's see. I don't know if I was south, north, or
north.
I was north. Okay. I started my journey to town actually quite a bit north to that, and traveled with some companions. Some of who are still with me, some who are not. Down to this gathering. It was quite an adventure, but took us a few months. But it was exciting times. Happy to be here.
And of course, where are my manners? It's the cleric that says that. They just call me Cathin.
Okay.
The elven wizard says, well, most human usually just call me Lofi, but my full name is Lofieralis. The one that owns the store says, oh, well, everyone just call me Sal. Nothing very special, but hey. It's usually a good thing to have a name that it's easy to remember when you have a store.
I mean, Sal sounds like sale, so it works for me.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, that's a good point.
I'll say, well, you guys seem like excellent people. I hope I can introduce you to my companions when they arrive, if they arrive, my traveling companions. Perhaps we will end up on some adventures together.
The wizard doesn't answer to that. Catherine does respond to this. Well, maybe. I often undertake missions, and the work of a cleric is never over. So you never know. We might actually end up sharing a quest at one point. Sal just answers, well, we always need people to help us better adjust to your world. So maybe we won't share a quest, but maybe you'll go on a hunt for ingredients for me at one point. You never know.
Yeah. Alright. I will continue kind of eating and talking with them.
Alright, so you keep on going with the small talk. General feeling, you get the feeling that Sal is just a hard-working human. Spends most of his time working. Right now you have a feeling that there's not as much to do because they're still trying to create trading agreements and stuff like that with your world, because you you often hear him say that this expedition has been limited in many ways, and one of them is that to prevent contamination, they have to work with what comes from your world. So this is why you don't get a choice of food or drink that is from where the garden originated from, and also you don't see, other than what the halls are made of, you don't see material that seems to be unfamiliar to you. But they do need to make a lot of business partners if they want to keep the shop well stocked. And you also gather that the garden itself hasn't been connected to the Shattered Continent for more than 3 months. As for the rest, well, the Elven Wizard is very quiet. He doesn't share a lot. You get the feeling that he's doing this on purpose. You don't know if it's because he doesn't trust you, but it's also something that you're not that unfamiliar with. Elves don't tend to share a lot about their own nation. So, and you get the feeling...
Also just wizards. My interaction with wizards.
Yeah, no, you haven't had the most talkative wizard. Well, you had a very talkative sorcerer at one point, but not wizard. And that's it. The red-haired cleric is very friendly. Doesn't hide much. She answers whatever question you might ask. Probably within reason. She remains a priest, but
Young and innocent to the world still.
as long as you're not too bold in your questions, you have the feeling that she's very open. All right. Valtteri, you decide to make your way to the Arboretum.
Yes.
Any place in particular you'd like to explore in there?
I was going for the forest to explore there a little bit.
It is a very large forest. You just want to enter and see what you can find, or anything specifically?
Wait, I forgot what I was going for. The middle part where there was like those weird stone thingies that one dwarf told us.
Right. It takes...
So-
yeah, sure. You can easily find the garden, the Arboretum again, and you meet again the Dragonborn sorcerer, wizard, monk. You're not sure, but something like that. You meet him again. This time he's alone, but he's just taking in everything around him, just being relaxed and not really reacting to you, but not ignoring you either. You just get a small nod as you approach. He just opens his eye. He just goes back to what he's doing. So unless you do something, you don't have the feeling that he's going to come near you. You do see one of those black hooded figure slowly entering the forest through a path that seems to just come from start probably near where the bridge was, that goes over this small stream, and the path that just goes to the left and enters the forest. And well, from your perspective, it's going to be to the right, but you just see one entering the forest. He's walking slowly. He looks like most of them, so tall, slender, and not in any hurry.
Would I assume that where he's going is also the way to the middle of the place?
Well, it's a bit hard to tell because you don't know where this path goes. Could lead to the center, but it just enters the forest, and just by looking at it, eventually it turns a bit and you stop seeing where it goes, so it could.
I'll try it. I'll go also the way, but I'm not in a hurry to try catching up. I'll just go.
Alright. So it... How long do you want to go up that path?
Until I kind of like hit something. Like that is not just trees. Like, I don't know, something out of the ordinary.
You see you see a variety of things as you walk through this. Of course, there's a very large variety of wildlife. Not really predatory life, but still a bit predatory. You do see what looks like small falcon. Goodness, I don't know what the distinctions are in English. In French, we have different distinctions for owls. Some that live during the day, the evening, and the night.
Like barn owls, screeching owls.
Yeah, we have different name category for all of them. So, but I'm not sure what they are in English. But so these kind of owls you mostly see during the day. You recognize them slightly as this looks like that kind of owl, but I've never seen this feather color. All right, that's fascinating, but not strange. You see what looks like a fox with a more black and silvery color rather than a red and orange color. You cross you cross the stream again with a small bridge. This one is even smaller than what's outside of the forest. You get the feeling that you're probably close to the source of it. It's just a little trickle, and it's not a fully large stone bridge. It's a bit more of a small wooden bridge that's maybe 6 or 7 feet long. It's just there so that you don't walk in the water as you go by. You at one point you have the feeling that you're probably very close to a bog, as there seems to be a few more insects than usual. And the feeling of it just all right. So there's probably some sort of wetland inside this forest. But the path just keeps on going. And after nearly an hour and a half of walk, you end up in a place which doesn't really qualifies as a clearing, but it's just large enough for a stone formation to be there. You don't know if it's the one that they were talking about, but it does fit the general description. Monolithic stone arranged in a circle. at one point, you've lost track of the hooded figure that you were following at the beginning. At one point, he just disappeared. You saw him turn a corner, you turned that corner, and he wasn't there anymore. However, when you get to this, you see something in the middle of this, a stone formation. Short, wearing light blue and green clothes. You would know. Probably a Sherunan, those who live in the forest. However, this one is a bit special, as you've never seen one not wearing their mushroom cap hat. He's not wearing a hat. You can see his hair. He's just letting it fall down his back. For him, it's mid-back. For you, it would be shoulder length, but for him, it's mid-back. He's not looking in your direction. He looks very absorbed by one of the rock in particular. So you're coming from him from his back.
Okay. I'll go closer, but not trying to scare him, and also kind of looking at the rocks, trying to maybe find something interesting.
Make a perception roll.
Okay. 14 plus 4, 18.
18. So you enter the circle slowly, gently, and you notice that a lot of these stone have faint carvings on them. Probably something similar to runes. You're not familiar with them, but they're definitely there. From the way this place is made, there's probably some ritualistic purpose to it. But you're not familiar with anything else. So as you walk like this and you just look around, one point you sort of realize that you're alone. You don't see that little guy anymore.
Okay. Do I see any, like, footsteps or something?
That would be a nature check.
Okay. 14.
14. You look around. Nope. Doesn't seem to be any footsteps anywhere.
Okay. Can I go where he was standing?
Yeah.
Then I'll just get there where he was standing and just look around to see maybe if something might happen.
Make another perception roll.
17.
17. You get to the roughly place where you believe he was, and you look around, you look in front of you, and you do feel a little sense of energy around you that you didn't feel as much before. Not an aggressive one, but it's sort of like when you're hearing a vibration. You don't know where it's coming, but you don't hear it, but you feel it in your body, this sort of sort of weird, but then again, this whole place seems a bit strange.
I'll leave and come back if I find one of my friends later.
Okay. You turn around, and just as you're about to make a step, you stop because this little Sharoon is just in front of you.
Hello.
He's looking straight at you. Hi. Oh, I'm gonna get a headache looking at you.
Should I get on my knees to make it easier for you?
Well, that, or you can take a step back.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I take a step back.
Oh, that's a little bit easier. It's a strange place, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of strange places. This one feels out of place, but in the right place also. It fits here, but not with us. Huh.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I've never seen a Sharoon without his head, so...
Oh, yeah, we have hair.
Where's your hat?
Oh, I don't have a hat. I don't have a clan. My clan got wiped out. Giants.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I was too small to remember correctly, so I mostly just kept on going. Nature brought me up.
Have you also been called here?
Oh, yes. Which is a bit odd. I've never received mail before.
Well, my name is Valtteri, and who are you?
Eventually humans call me Karun.
Well, hello, Karun. I was going to head off. Are you going to stay here, or
Oh, yes, definitely.
maybe we will see each other again?
Oh, you don't have much of a choice. In 2 days, we're gonna get to figure out what this object is, so we'll most likely meet again there.
That's true. Well, bye.
Alright, bye. Careful, there's a fox looking at us.
Okay.
You have no clue where this fox is.
I'll just go.
Fisher, you easily make your way to the library. It's not very hard to find, and well, depending on if you try and find it all on your own, or if you from time to time ask for directions.
Yeah, I'll ask for directions.
All right. Well, in that case, you find it rather easily. It does take you a while to get there. Maybe a good 20-25 minutes of walk. You get the feeling that this place is really large. But eventually, you make your way to a place that feels like this is a library, though there are not as many books as you're used to seeing in a library. It has a bit of a towery feeling as you enter this room. This room again is mostly seems to be made out of wood. It's several tiers of of shelves, but there seems to be a lot of book missing. You see a lot of people just walking about, adding books. Some of them are just taking books and looking at them, but putting it back. But you have a feeling that a lot of the people in here right now are busy adding to the library. But depending on what you want to search for, you get a feeling that could possibly be some interesting knowledge here. Most of the people you see are gnomes, humans, and half-elves. But you do see from time to time maybe a half-orc, which is a bit odd in the books in the library. Most of them feel like they're working here. You do, however, come across one human that looks like he's an adventurer like you. This one is paying more attention to the books. He doesn't seem to be there to add anything. He just takes a book and then starts reading the pages.
Is there like a front desk area kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or like a directory or something
Yeah.
that I can go find?
Yeah. There is a central area. It feels like where you are is mostly the center of the place, as much in height as in width. Most of this place is a complete floor. However, there are a few moments where you can look above a railing and see, oh, there's other floor below, not just above us. And there is a desk which forms sort of a crescent moon shape. And behind the desk, you see a few of those hooded figure.
So approach the desk. Is there a little bell thing or something?
No, but as you approach the desk, there's someone that immediately sees you, and it's one of those hooded figure. This one is not wearing gloves, so you can clearly see that it is also a construct. But he looks at you and says, "Ah, welcome. Is there anything we can do for you?"
Hi. So what exactly is the scope of this library?
Well, it depends on the subject you're hoping to research. We cover most subject, but we haven't been here for very long. We're still gathering information from your world. We've been able to increase the knowledge. You will find a few books about other worlds, completely at the top of the research floor. But for now, they're most likely still restricted for you. Just want to make sure that you're not just here to try and figure out things you shouldn't be figuring out. But as we get to know you better, most likely we'll be able to at least let you visit those levels. For everything else, well, we plan on having a very large variety of subject on a very wide range of category of. But right now, as I said, it's only been a few months, so it's a bit limited.
How do you gather this information?
Mostly by sending people outside. we can't leave, so we rely mostly on our non-combatant population. Many of them are volunteer from where the garden was made.
So does that mean that if I can't find what I'm looking for here, could I possibly ask to have it
Research?
researched? Yeah.
Sure. Definitely. We can try and prioritize requests from the people who choose to be a part of this expedition. Of course.
Cool. Where can I find books on the history of constructs and more specifically maker's marks?
Oh,
Speaking of which, do you guys have something like that? I see you are at least similar in design.
Yeah. Actually, this is one of the subjects we'd like very much to learn more about. From what we can understand, your world hasn't learned the necessarily arcane knowledge to voluntarily give awareness to their creations. Yet some of you do. Spontaneous manifestation of awareness inside a construct population is rather rare. We would like very much to learn more about the constructs of your world. From where we are, well, in our world, it is almost common knowledge how to make beings like you and me. So as you would easily gather, we are a bit ahead of you in many arcane domains.
Obviously. You said you were made to have your own conscious, to be sentient.
Yes. It is a voluntary process. Haha. Oh, well, this is a very,
Because at least here, constructs are used to help with work. Most folk don't like it when we gain sentience, as far as I can tell.
Oh, I'm very sorry to learn that. Well, a very long time ago, yes, we were mostly created as tools, but it's been several thousand years since this era. But even then, the first one that created the first versions of us made sure that we had a very wide variety of capabilities. It was a very dark and a very difficult time in our world. And some of us, actually, we do have a citizen inside the garden, which is a design from those era. He works in one of the store, If you ever buy potions, you will most likely meet him. Strange fellow. And the creations in his time were different. We've come a long way since then. Now it is a voluntary process. And many of the problems that they faced, we've learned to make sure that the future generations wouldn't have to face them. Now it's, well, like I said, it's a very voluntary process, and it is a very common knowledge. I know that in some worlds, and most likely yours, this would be a very touchy concept, but it is a knowledge that is so common from my world. Construct can build construct. It's ancient one. We are a society.
Seems pretty sweet.
Well, if you don't mind going through let's just say a very dark and long period of time, for those made after it, for those who don't remember it, yes, of course, it is.
So it's progress can't come without adversity.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry. I'm a bit limited in the constraints that were imposed to us. It is... Well, I hope you never have to find out what this... And he just spreads his arm when he says that. Becomes necessary.
Thank you, I guess. So back to
Yes.
lighter subject.
Yes.
Do you have just not necessarily about coming to sentience, but just possibly old texts of the creation of constructs?
Well, actually, if you decide to stay, we don't take this the wrong way. But we would very much enjoy to study you a bit. Like I said, it's a very foreign, very rare concept of spontaneous appearance of sentientness in construct. We've actually haven't encountered many worlds that have had that specific element. And we'd like very much to learn more. If you ever meet others like you, and depending on what you will or might let us learn about you, who knows? Maybe you are an important part of this mystery.
Sure, we could arrange something. I am very interested as well in finding out more about myself, as there still seems to be a lot that I don't understand. And
we will be glad to help you figure this out, as we are also very invested in learning this.
one last question
Yes.
before I go. How old are you?
A very odd question. Why do you want to know?
Well, I well, only recently was able to fight for my own conscious mind, and I met another that was like me
Oh.
on the way here. He didn't say a lot, but what he did mention was that I was old.
Oh.
Very old. And I was just wondering if you possibly would be able to help me find out how old.
Possibly. Actually, it's most likely. This is really isn't a very hard test. We would have to just take a few samples. A bit of the roots you're made of, a bit of the metal, a bit of stone. Probably just be able to figure out with a few easy tests. We'd most likely have the result in a few days.
Yeah, whatever you need. Is that something I can get started on here, or?
Let's see. Taking samples. Yeah, I'd say you'd have to go to the top floor, where most of the research actually takes place. They'd probably be able to take the necessary
Cool. Stairs?
Oh yeah, just at the end of the hallway, just there. They're hard to miss. They just go from the outside, from the inside of the wall, to just go in a spiral. You have to be a bit patient because they go up one level, and then to go up the next level, you actually have to go on the other side. But we've had to improvise for some things, so it's not necessarily as easy as, well, finding your way in your own home.
Well, make sure to watch my footing.
Yeah, or, well, just remember where you've been. Prevents from walking around in circle.
Yes.
We've had a few incidents like this in the past 2 weeks. Some of the guests we've actually found roaming the halls, or in this case, there was a young fellow earlier. He just kept going up and down the flights of stairs. He said he didn't need help, but he eventually just became rude and left.
Maybe he was just exercising.
Maybe.
Noticed more organic beings seem to need to do a lot of work to keep up their abilities.
Well,
seems exhausting.
It's one of the disadvantages of having organic component. When you don't, you can go for as long as you have energy.
Well, thanks for the help.
You're welcome.
I
Come
think
back
I'll
anytime.
go get that research started.
Oh, absolutely. And if you ever find a way to reach that friend of yours again, we would be most interested in talking with him.
Sure. I'll turn around and head for the stairs.
All right. You easily find the stairs. They're not hard to find, but just like he said a few moments earlier, it does feel a little bit confusing, as it's not just the stairs that keeps going up and up and up, spiraling. There's a few stairs on one wall, and then you have to go to another wall, and then there's a few stairs there, and then you have to go to the southern part of the floor that you're in, and there it's not stairs, it looks like a platform that just rises. So there's a bit of an odd feeling to get up there, but you eventually get there. And you find yourself in front of several of these hooded figures. And just as you arrive, one said, "Oh, we weren't expecting anyone. But you're welcome anyway. What can we do for you?"
The guy downstairs said that you might be able to tell me how old I am.
All right. Well, it's a bit of an odd question. Usually people remember how old they are, but sure. Come over here. We're gonna try and figure this out. Do you follow?
I'll walk up.
All right.
Yeah.
So he takes you to what looks like a laboratory section of this library, and you just start taking samples. You see one of them scrapes a little bit of metal of one of your joints, and one asks you for permission to take a small sample from the root system inside of you. Do you give permission?
As long as you don't break anything.
All right. So yeah, you just takes a slight sample. You just see them take some sort of shears, but it's actually very delicate, and they just snip a little part of it. They ask you permission to sample the enchantment inside of you. You see them take an orb, and just get close to you and say, "Oh, don't worry, it's not gonna hurt. Can we take a sample?"
Nah, I came up here and was okay with all the other ones, but this one's...
So you let them take a arcane energy sample. So basically, they take a sample from almost everything. They have a sample of the root system, of the stones inside, of the metal armature. You get a feeling that they took a little bit of arcane energy from you. They analyze you using crystals and figure out few of the enchantment which binds you together. They even took a sample of your cloak. Takes maybe half an hour for them to take a sample of everything. Well, after that, it says, well, if you stay among us after you complete your journey here, we will most likely have the result within the same day.
Cool. So I just come back here then?
Oh, don't worry. If you stay, we'll find you easily. But you can.
Even better.
Might spare a few hours in all if you come by yourself, but yeah. If you don't, we will easily find you. Don't worry about it.
Well, thanks. I'll head back downstairs.
All right. So,
On my way back down, can I kind of keep an eye out for like a religion pantheon section?
Sure. Make a perception roll.
13.
Okay. You don't see anything that would look like this. But asking around, if you do you just want to look, or do you want to eventually ask if you don't see anything?
If I can't find it looking, then I'd ask. Alright,
so as you go down, you don't see any place that would look like this. And the books itself, well, it's a bit hard to really go through all the books. So you just by skimming, going over them, reading the titles of the book, it's you don't see anything that would relate to gods and anything. But as eventually you walking down the stairs, you find one of these hooded figure, and you ask him. He says, "Yeah, definitely. There is a section for the gods." Was one of the easier things to learn about your world. A lot of people are really eager to talk about gods, so yeah, there's definitely a section of this library that is for gods, their influence, what they teach, what they represent. But it's in the section.
Where could I find that?
He gives you where the section is. It's one of the lower level section, so below the floor in which you originally arrived, and gives you the name of the section. It's like I said, in the lower floor, a bit tucked in inside one of the corner, but it would be fairly easy to find.
Okay, I'll head over there.
Okay.
And try and find anything about the hunter god.
Oh. Alright. Then I would ask you to make an investigation roll.
Non-natural 20.
Oh, well, that's good. Alright. Yeah, you do find something. You find a little bit of conflicting information. You don't find the name of the god, just that it is referred to as hunter god. I think we're gonna lose Sam.
Sam, wake up!
I'm here.
You were
just making sure, dude. You
really were looking like you were just about to fall asleep. So,
sorry, my research is so boring. I know this really is an audience's strong suit.
So yeah, you don't find the name of the hunter god, but what you do find is a lot of reference about this being a god from a long time ago. You'd find bits of information about its history. You learn that it was once a nature god, mostly followed by druids, but there were also a few clerical organization that followed him. But during you're not sure exactly, but it feels like they're talking about a conflict in the heavens. That god was injured and captured by another god. But when the conflict ended, the god which actually captured this one was killed, dismayed. You're not sure how it works for God, but it was defeated, and it took that god millennia to recover from this. But that means that that god, which became the hunter god, was left alone in a prison for millennia, to the point where it lost its balance and part of its sanity. It eventually managed to break free on its own, but from that point on, the druids, most druid abandoned it because it had lost its center, and it got lost inside the darker aspect of what you represented, which was the opposition between what you could see, about seeing what is hidden and being blind to what is hidden. It was before a god revered for its hunting capabilities, but it also stood for the good hunt, the one that is never too much. You hunt the weak, you hunt the sick, you don't touch those who make sure that what you're hunting cannot replenish itself. So there is a strong aspect of survival of the fittest in what it was. But now it feels like it completely lost itself in the predatory part of what it represented. Now it mostly just hunts for sports. And that's about what you find.
Okay. In that case, is this all just like in one book?
No, you
Or was it like
you
a bunch
actually
of different sources all over the place?
Yeah, you actually had to read 2 or 3 books and a few minor ones, and this is a sum of everything that you were about that you were able to find in what they have.
In that case,
You get the feeling that they're still organizing everything. It's still not just one subject for one book. Right now, they're gathering information and taking it in from different sources. Most likely, it's going to organize itself in the following months. But right now, it's rather raw sources from your world.
In that case, I think I will head back outside. And what time is it now?
With all of that you've done, including the research, I think you'd be getting close to the evening. So most likely 5 or 6 p.m.
I will head back and try and find the inn.
All right. Valtteri, what do you do?
Before I try finding my 2 companions, I would try finding my little friend, Orina.
You have the feeling that she is somewhere in the forest, as you get a whole bunch of mixed feelings. You feel satisfaction, you feel curiosity, you feel pride. You feel a little bit of vanity. You get the feeling she's not alone.
What does vanity mean?
Vanity. Oh boy, how do I explain it?
Like pride, but it's kind of more
Superficial.
yeah, it's a little more negative connotation to it.
Would I like kind of sense that you maybe hunt down something?
No. It feels more like she's bragging about something.
Okay, so if I have the feeling that she's still not in trouble or anything.
Oh no. You get the feeling that she's going through a whole lot of emotion. Like I said, pride, bit of vanity, excitement. There's
Then,
probably other like her in here.
yeah, okay. Then I'll, because I know how audience is, I would probably guess that he's at the inn.
Yeah, and he
Who is-
most likely is not looking the way that audience's soul is right now. So,
So
all right.
I'll
So,
head to the inn.
all right, audience, you can have been in this inn for 5 hours in total. So, what do you do for 5 hours inside an inn? Or you can leave and come back. It's.
Let's see. That's a good question.
You
Probably hung out.
You probably took an hour of this from ordering and everything that you talk about, but you can keep on talking. You basically have 4 hours to cover.
I would have probably, after having a good conversation, probably for an hour, hour and a half, I'd say. Maybe even 2 hours. Telling some stories, getting to know the other people, hearing some of their stories. Would have probably, told them I'd be back in the evening and perhaps my companions would be there, and then would have gone out and I probably explored the surrounding residential area.
All right. Yeah, well, you've explored part of it by getting lost earlier. So, you know that it's quite large and there are several levels to this. The corridors look... Well, actually, there is a bit of a contradiction now that you think about it when you walk through the corridors, because you come from a far place. You've seen a bit about how the world boasts about riches, and at first it would feel like a place that its halls made out of gold, silver, brass, and copper would be something that would feel very rich. But you realize that the decoration is very zen. They're not boasting about anything. You find potted plants. That's about it. Few statues.
Oh.
So the decoration is very humble. You meet several people. You get the feeling that this residential area is not just for the adventurers. There's a lot of people that come from inside the garden who works. You see people wearing work clothes from different professions. One of them you identify as most likely being a blacksmith. Someone else probably working with wood, judging from what it's wearing, judging from how worn his hands are. You do cross a little odd fellow, 5 foot tall, humanoid in form, but it looks like it's wearing something that would be similar to a good lord, I knew what it was. Similar to a pancho. But the colors of this is very gray, metallic gray. Its head, he's wearing a helm, very similar to what you'd find for the helm of a half plate. A half plate or a full plate. He seems to be wearing armor. His hands looks like the gloves from a full plate. He seems to be wearing the greavers that you'd find on a half plate. You just see him walking down a hall and just keep on going. Unless you stop him, he's not going to stop and start talking to you.
I don't. I kind of give an interested look, but not.
Okay.
Not gonna stop.
Well. All right. So you just see him keeps going. You do learn that there are several places where people can meet and gather. You get the feeling that there are several smaller village-size inn compared to what you just saw, which you could probably fit a village in that inn. But these ones feels more like smaller areas where people would most likely gather if they're just looking to not be alone, but don't want to have the huge crowd of the main inn. And of course, you come across a few times one of those hooded figures. That's mostly what you find.
Okay. So I'd probably spend about an hour. So now I've been out for about probably like another hour, like kind of running around. And then I'd probably, for the last hour, probably just again head back, because it'd be starting to get towards evening, probably head back towards the main inn and just wait for everyone else to get there.
Okay.
Since I didn't really think I had anywhere else to go in the time I had before evening.
Okay. Well, of course, a few times you get a few respectful nods or bow as you walk by. People are not ignoring you. They acknowledge you're there. You get the feeling that some of them are a bit distracted and hurrying to somewhere else. But it remains friendly. It's not just there's someone there. So you easily get back to the inn. People are starting to gather. When you get back in, you notice that there are a fair amount of new people inside. People that you didn't see from before. There is a healthy population that is not adventurer. You see mostly humans, dwarf, a lot more gnomes than before. Actually, the proportion seems to have shifted a bit. As in before, you saw more humans and dwarves. Now you get the feeling that, well, maybe the bulk of the population is gnomes and dwarves. Not necessarily humans and half-elves. Mm-hmm. They're still very present, but a lot of them feels to be part of this. When you get inside the inn, you are immediately hit by the quantity of people that are there compared to what it was before. You see a few bards trying to set up in the center of the inn. You see a lot of people talking at the desk. The variety of people has just gone up several notch. You recognize a few dragonborn. You recognize a woman tiefling in one of the corner of the room. You see gnomes. You recognize one of them as being the gnome that entered the garden with you, and she's talking to another gnome. This one is different, most likely warrior-ish type. He's wearing armor, but it's light armor, so most likely someone who has specialized more in range than melee combat. You recognize someone from before. There is only one Nathan inside the room, and you recognize him as the one you have met before, a long time ago.
Yes. His name was... I had it. Tisul.
Exactly. And of course, as you look around, you recognize that in one corner of the room, you see Valtteri entering, and in another one, you also see Fisher entering the
Alright.
inn.
I'll give each of them a nod if they don't notice. I'm gonna go talk to Tisul though, because I haven't seen him for a while.
All right. Valtteri and Fisher, I'd have you make a perception roll.
Uh, 12.
Natural 20.
Oh, well, Fisher, you see everything that I just described, except that you also notice that there's an Afghan in the room, but you don't know him. Valtteri, you notice a lot more than Fisher has just noticed. You notice audience giving you a nod, and you recognize Tisul as you've seen him before. You recognize someone, but I'm going to send you this privately.
Okay. I feel uncomfortable now.
He's in the room. You also recognize audience's crush inside the room. She's on
Don't tell him where. Don't tell
a second floor.
Oh my god, this is... Where's the person that you wrote me standing?
He is on the first floor, and because you got a natural 20, you have a feeling that he just noticed who's entered the room.
Me or Fisher?
All three.
Okay. Well, this is awkward now.
I'm just gonna go talk to Tisul, man.
All right. So while we let Valtteri figure out how she reacts to this, we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna get back from the break with audience just about to talk to Tisul.
Alright.
All right.
Go find my crush. I mean, no.
All right. See you all back in 10 minutes. Bye. welcome back. You have no idea how much fun I've just been having looking at Valtteri meltdown.
I'm happy you're amused by it.
Oh yes, I am definitely amused by it. It's so fun for me. Alright, so we go back into this vision of the inn as Audience is making his way to his old friend Tesul, who is also a bit of a mentor for him.
Yep.
Fisher, you are completely oblivious to anything that's going on. You see a lot of people and your attention just focuses on the first person that you recognize. You recognize the turtle. He's near you, and that's it. You really don't see anyone else. Valtteri, you go through a whole bunch of feeling. Oh, I recognize him. Oh, here's Audience. Here's Fisher. Oh, here's that girl. And here, oh, God, no.
Oh, wait, actually, I don't think she would, because she never saw the girl. I was the only one who saw the girl.
What
Well,
girl?
you did describe a girl
I did
with
describe her.
long silver hair. And she, with a natural 20, she does see a girl with long silver hair.
And someone else. How should I do this now?
And you suddenly see Valtteri implode. Audience, you find yourself in front of Tesul. Who recognizes you? He gives you a nod as you walk toward him.
I'll be like, Tesul, you made it. It's good to see you.
It is.
I used some of your tips you gave me in battles. They worked quite well.
That is a pleasant news. And what kind of interesting adventures have you been getting into?
Oh, well, since we last saw you, I mean, he wasn't there on the ship. Yeah, he wasn't there on the ship after we. So, well, we ran into some pirates, and I'll tell him the whole pirate story in the duel, and I'll be like, and then we ran into some goblins, and some bandits, and it's been crazy, but it's good to be here. No real sweat, right? Just brushing it off. The way of life, venturing.
You seem to be in good health. So
Yes.
the adventuring life does seem to agree with you.
I'll just be like, yes, adventurers! And I'll give a shout out to the bar. I'll just yell out, adventurers! Around the room and then kind of turn back.
Oh, you definitely hear a few people say, ah! Do you talk about the silver-haired woman to Tesul?
No, I probably actually wouldn't mention her. I probably would. Oh, no, wait. Actually, do I remember... No, that was something else. I don't think that was it. No, I wouldn't probably talk about her then. She's just kind of like, I'd just be like, yes, our stories of adventures, my great exploits and winning duels.
Preaching.
Father praise me, because he's like my mentor. I won duels. Praise me.
Well, you won one duel. It's...
Listen, he said he was the greatest fighter on the sea, so, I mean...
Yeah, so technically you've beaten the greatest duelist on the sea, so...
I'm number 1 on the sea, baby. Sea charts. Ranked 1.
Champion of the ocean.
To my knowledge, at least.
Alright. And what about your friends? Have any of them made their way here?
Well, of the group you knew, and only one of them I am still with. The others, unfortunately, got captured by the hunter god, but Valkyrie, and I'll look around because I saw her
Then
earlier.
make a perception roll. See where she is, what you see in the room.
17.
17. You look around and yeah, you notice her. She looks like she just ate something that really didn't agree with her.
I'll shout out to
You
her.
would probably.
I'll shout out to her. I'll be like, Valkyrie! Look, it's Tasul! I'll like point over at him. Over like, Valkyrie!
You would just see how I instinctively, because of what I saw, put over my hood.
And I'll assume that's just her being shy. Valkyrie! Tasul!
So you see audience from the other side of the room. Valtteri, come here! Look, it's the soul. And all you hear is his voice resonating throughout this entire inn.
I would wave and.
Do you make your way to audience and Tesul? You remember Tesul as being a very good blade master.
I would wave.
You wave, but do you go to them or do you stay in your corner fearing for the future?
I have another plan.
Alright. So you just wave back at audience and Tesul and don't move.
I'll give a laugh. I'll be like, you know about Terry. She's being shy. Always finding the corners, that one.
Well, he looks at her and says, well, there is shy and there is fear in her eyes.
I'll look back. I'll be like, huh. Maybe I'll say, well, thank you for noticing. Maybe I'll go check on her. And I'll start walking over to Valtteri.
I just keep staring at the person I'm seeing.
As you walk toward her, you sort of notice that the colors in her face is slowly draining, and her hands are getting paler and paler, and she's even, shivering a little bit. She must be cold,
Fisher would probably have noticed at least me at this point since I've been shouting.
Yes, since you've been shouting. Fisher, as you are just in front of Corinth, the turtle paladin, who's most likely noticed you and at least gave you a jovial nod. You hear the voice of audience thundering inside the inn, just saying, "Hey, Valtteri! This is our friend, Tesul!" So, okay. So you see audience, you see the guy audience is pointing to, and then you look at Valtteri, who seems to have eaten something that really, really, really isn't going down well. She looks pale, terrified.
How close am I to each of them?
I'd say you're maybe... So he came from here. So you're about, I'd say, 40 feet away from audience. And she came from the Arboretum, so maybe 50 feet away from Valtteri. And audience from Valtteri would be maybe 25 feet away from her.
In that case, I guess I'll swing by audience.
And make a perception roll, Fisher.
Oh boy.
Another one?
Yo.
Oh boy.
Ooh, I'm rolling good. 19.
19. You notice that, and Valtteri, this is probably one of the reasons why you've been feeling so sick. You notice that she is looking terrified in your direction.
My direction.
Yep. Most likely at something behind you.
Guess I'll turn around then.
You make one step to turn around, and then you hear something you probably were hoping to never hear again. Toy soldier!
Awesome.
You made it here!
Can I run out, please?
So you make a second step to turn around, and you see the orc from the duel. The one who swore to kill you next time he would see you.
How was thief hunting?
Well, some of them were a bit far. Most of them weren't. And how have you been doing? You know, you had to do at least a mile of walk. That must have been so hard to survive.
Damn, that's mock.
Oh yeah, totally. Super hard, especially after, surviving our duel. It was so much harder.
Oh, is that
to
what
walk
it was?
a mile.
Yeah. I know, it's a bit hard for those like you. But listen. The kind fellows hosting us here told me this is hallowed ground. And I respect that. So while we're in here, we can just share a drink. Then he looks at you. Well, I can drink, and you can share whatever you believe are your achievements, and we can laugh. But if I meet you outside, I'll kill you.
Well then, sounds like a deal to me, and
Ha! Come on!
I hope when we do meet outside, it is many years from now, because I would hate to kill you so soon after meeting.
Don't worry. I'll give you enough time to practice a bit. You seem to be needing it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, join me at the table. You can try and regale me with tales of juvenile victory.
I would love to join you. Why don't I go to the bar and pick you up something to drink, and I'll meet you back here. What do you want?
A fine idea. I'll say, surprise me. Let's see what you feel is appropriate for this.
Okay. Where's the bar in relation to Valtteri and audience?
Directly on the opposite side of the room. Valtteri barely entered, so she's on the what would be the western wall of this place from where you are. You've entered from the northern section of the inn, and audience entered from the southwestish section of this place. So audience is making his way to Valtari, and you are north.
I'll make my way over to both of them.
All right. Audience, you most likely heard at least part of this. At least
Well,
the
let's
laughter.
see, making my way over, so I would have been making my way over to Valtieri when probably I started to hear this.
You most likely would have recognized the laugh, but probably not heard what he told Fisher.
Okay. Well, I'll still go check on. So I would have been going to go check on Valtieri, heard the laugh, turned, saw the orc, probably looked back at Valtieri, seen where she was looking, been like, oh, that's why she looked sick. And then I'd probably start to make my way over to Fisher, as the backup. And in case we were about to come to blows, and then he would have finished his conversation, started making ways, I'd probably meet him back about halfway over.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
All right.
So good news. He's not going to kill me right now. But I gotta go get him something to drink.
Why? I said we could take him. Give you a look.
You were paying attention to that duel, right?
I'll be like, listen, you need some practice, but together we can accomplish anything.
I love your optimism.
In the background, Valtteri
I'm
just
totally sure we could.
slowly moves away.
And you see the anime teardrop appearing on her forehead as she's slowly sliding away.
Why don't we go find our friend over there before she has a panic attack and runs out the door?
Oh, all right. We'll save him for another day. Clap on the back.
I was moving to the door.
Well, yeah, I'd say that you're probably moving to the door the same way that my mother was moving away from a dog who wanted to attack her. So, half an inch at a time. In your mind, you're making full steps, but in reality, audience and Fisher, you see her just make half-inch steps, one after the other, toward one of the exits.
I'll say, Valtieri! I'll shout out. I'll be like, Valtieri, don't worry, it's fine. Come back, come back. We'll kick the orc's ass another day. I'll say that, of course, loudly, so everyone can hear it.
No.
Panic, 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 panic. Already so many people in this room and not this guy. So close of running out and screaming.
You get a feeling that she is 5 minutes away from peeing in her pants. Like all animals do when they're really scared, they just start peeing because it increases their smell.
I'll turn to Mitch. I'll be like, what I'm saying doesn't seem to be helping. I'm confused.
She doesn't want to get noticed, and you're like screaming her name so that everyone can look at her. I mean,
I guess when we finally get there, like, you're not worried about the orc, right? Because he's not gonna kill me in here.
It's not just him.
It's mostly him. Just
There are a lot of people here also. Also, one of his crushes.
Oh wait, do I hear that?
I don't know, but you see Valtteri pointing in the direction.
Why would you do that?
I'll look in the direction she's pointing. I mean, it's a good way to distract me.
Well, then in that case, I will make you do a token perception roll. Just don't roll 1.
Oh, you know I'll roll a 1. I didn't. I actually rolled an 18. I rolled quite well.
So you see her talk to Fisher and you see her point like this in a direction. Your head turns around and your heart skips a beat as you see this silver-haired monk at the counter of the bar. She seems to have moved from the moment where Valtteri first saw her. She's surrounded by humans and half-elves. They're almost around her in a crescent moon shape. But you recognize this air of amusement in her eyes and in her general body language.
Alright.
Can we leave now?
I'll turn to Fisher. I'll be like, you got this, right? Yeah, you got this. Okay, I'm gonna climb back. I'll be like, I'll see you guys later. Drunk. Just pass the level. I'll be like, yeah, you got this? Yeah, okay. Nice job, champ.
I wanted to... Okay.
And you see him bolt toward the counter where you see a whole bunch of humans and half-elves almost a feet away from this silver-haired woman wearing black clothes, but other than that, she really is wearing the traditional robes of the monks. She has wrappings around her hand and feet, but she's looking around at those around her, and she really looks amused at what is going on right now.
Can we leave now?
I guess, yeah, I mean, I feel like from what I know of social obligations, I owe that orc something from the bar, but I mean, you can leave. I was wanting to talk to you both about something I found, but
as you say that,
audience seems a little preoccupied, so maybe we'll talk about it later.
As you say this, Fisher, you hear coming from the other side of the room, "Come on, what's happening with that drink? Bring your pet with you."
No.
I'm assuming you don't want to join me in talking to him.
Oh, you see a little bit of anger in her eyes now. Let's talk to him.
All right.
Really? Okay.
I want to scratch his face.
I'll swing by the bar and pick up like the biggest size they have of just like ale.
All right. So you just ask the biggest pint that they have of what ale. They have many kinds.
Whatever's strongest.
All right. So you see the innkeeper just looks at you. You don't see exactly his face, but you get this feeling, this suspended, motionless feeling from someone that just says, "You sure about this?" He has the huge pint in his hand. All right. He pours it in. It's a strange...
Do I look like somebody that this is going to affect?
Well, he probably also know that it's probably not for you.
Good idea. Get him drunk and then beat him up. Good plan.
So you see this liquid that looks yellow and orange inside the pint. It's really a jumbo-sized pint. At this point, it's no longer a pint; it's a 2 pint.
It's a gallon.
I think it's 4 pint for a gallon, but
It's 2.
It's 2.
Yeah.
You sure? All right. Well,
Dang.
you're more
Empirical measurements are the worst.
You're more
I'll grab
used
it
to.
and turn to leave before turning back, going, how much?
You're asking the.
Bartender. Barkeep.
For tonight, and because we're just about to start, we're only a few days away from this. You don't have to pay.
Thank
You
you.
are guest of the garden. For the next few days, if you decide to stay, you will become a resident. And unfortunately, we will have to, at one point, at least ask you to pay.
Wait,
But-
there's some people saying there's free alcohol here? Wait.
I'll grab it and walk away, and then quietly just kind of mutter, it's a horrible way to run a business. As I make my way back to the orc.
Alright, so you make your way back to the Orc, and because Fisher went to also the bar audience, you do see him go to the bar and to the counter and take this huge pint, which almost looks like 2 pints of this strange reddish with orange with yellow swirls in it. You can almost feel the strength of the alcohol just by looking at it. And you see Valtteri following Fisher with a pissed look in her eyes.
Alright.
I'll get a cup of water.
Okay, so a pint is a quarter of a eighth of a gallon.
So it's
so
8.
2 pints, is a quart.
All right. I thought it was 4, but apparently it's 8. Well, all right. So the two of you go to your table
Is
and
almost a liter.
yeah, actually, a American pint, it's I think 2.2, but a British pint, it's less than 2. I have both.
Question.
Yes.
Is a pint half of a liter or a liter
An
or...
American pint is 473 milliliter. A
Okay.
British pint is 568 milliliters.
So half a liter. Okay.
Both are about half,
Yeah.
but British pint are bigger than American pint. All right, so you take this and you go back to the Orc audience. You make your way to the counter. You see them take their pints and huge tankard of water and go back to their thing with the Orc. And you find yourself in front of your first crush since all this started. You get close enough that you hear a cacophony of sound coming from all the humans and half-elves around her. And just as you arrive close enough to say something, you realize that she noticed you. And there is this little smile that comes across her face, but she turns around all of these men around her and says, "Fellows, you know, you're gonna need better than words to impress me." And you suddenly see them all just look on them, and this is when you realize she's surrounded by bards. And they all just look down at their musical instrument and at one another. And they suddenly start leaving. You hear her just go. She turns around. She turns around at the counter. I'll have that pint that I asked you. Yeah. She turns around and she sees there.
Yeah.
Oh well, if it isn't the little Dragonborn.
Oh, me, it's been a long time. Haven't seen you since, that Duke out in the city.
Yes, it has been quite a while. I am glad to see that you survived the road up to here. I have a feeling that you've been hunted by those people from the hunter cult, I gathered?
Yes. They weren't much of a problem. You could deal with them. Their kind pretty easy.
Yeah, I noticed. It was...
I mean, some of my companions couldn't, but we made it there. My face will fall for a second. I'll be like, 2 of our members unfortunately got taken, including the monk I told you about before. But
Oh. Well, that's a bad news.
Yes, I wasn't there. I should have been with them. I could have stopped them. I'll let crestfallen for a second.
She smiles as you say this. Maybe you would have been able. Maybe. We, unfortunately, will never know.
So what have you been up to? How were your adventures after I last saw you?
Pretty uneventful, unfortunately. She turns around. Oh, thank you. And she takes this very large pint, and she looks at you and said, "Well, I have a table over there."
Oh, do you mind if I join you?
I'm pretty sure there's no problem.
All right, I will also grab a drink from the bar. I'll grab a pint of something.
All right. Well, the innkeeper asks you what sort of drink you want.
A brandy of some sort. Nothing too fancy. Just a good solid brandy.
All right.
Make it hot though. Want to feel the burn.
Want to feel the burn? Yeah.
I'm a man.
Yeah. So he looks at you. He looks at you and says, "All right. Well, feeling bold tonight. All right."
Always. Bold is my middle name.
I didn't know Dragonborn had middle names.
It was a turn of the phrase. I don't know.
Oh. All right. Well, culture can change from world to world. All right. Let's see. You want something strong? Someone wants to... He turns around and he talks in a language that you have no clue what this is, but it sounds like a series of click, beeps, and screeching noise, which Sam would identify as something very akin to a modem talking, but I don't know how audience would translate this.
He wouldn't probably try. He'd be like, all right, my guy. talk like that. You do you.
And you see someone coming out of the back store with a jug of some sort. You don't see what's inside, it's opaque. He opens it, and he lets you smell it.
Alright, I'll take a good whiff.
Make a Constitution save, if you please.
By smelling it. Oh no.
You know what? I'll be fine. I have okay constitution. That's a 15.
15, alright. Well, you take it well enough, but as you take a good whiff of it, it feels like the hairs in your nose are burning, incinerating, turning to ash.
Alright. I'll go. Yeah, that's the stuff. I'll give him a nod.
He pours it inside.
Gonna die.
Your pint, and here you go. Enjoy. Slowly, please. He puts the cork back on the jug.
The poor barkeep, he just had a Warforged walk over, ask for the pint of the strongest than me over here ordering this stuff. He's like, everyone's gonna die in my bar room tonight.
Don't worry, they're equipped. They can revive people.
Oh, good. I might need that.
Oh boy.
Alright, I'll start heading over to Ami's table.
So as you get to the table, you see that there is a half-orc sitting with her. And as you get closer, you hear it just enough. Well, first you see her come to near him, and you see her put her arm around this half-orc's shoulder, and you hear her say, "You wouldn't have to, by any chance, any of that little elixir that you so kindly lended to me a few days ago?" And you hear the half-orc say, "Oh, come on, stop doing that to those poor..." "No, I don't have any of the elixir left." "Oh, come on, please. It's gonna be funny." "Yes, I remember." "I don't think they found it funny." "I'm sure they did." She turns to you and says, "It's been a while. What was your name again?"
It's, audience. It's fine. We were, when you meet in a dark alley, you don't really get a great chance to exchange names.
Yes, usually in dark alleys, you don't exchange name. That is true. Audience. Meet my brother. Well, half-brother. And the guy looks at you and says, "Yes, I am her half-brother. Regretfully."
I'll say, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'll stick out my hand.
He takes it. He just shakes your hand. She looks at you and says, "Well, as you seem slightly puzzled, our father was a bard with very low standard. And so this came to be. Come on, sit with us. Don't worry."
I'll give that kind of uncomfortable laugh of, don't want to say anything because I don't know what to respond to that. Yes, bad, but it's your father, so funny. Okay, let's sit down.
Alright, so you sit down. You get the feeling that she's having a great time right now, but the half-orc is a bit annoyed. A bit of the noise and of his half-sister.
I'll take because I feel a little, sitting down with my crotch, feel a little nervous. I'll take a good gulp of my fire brandy or whatever I ordered.
You die.
Make a constitution.
I take 80 damage.
You take 12 points of poison damage? No. Make a constitution save.
Alright.
How big of a gulp do you take?
Like one of those, like not like a sip. I don't want to seem, not like a full, but a good, swig.
All right. So you can make a normal Constitution save.
All right, I got a 10.
You got a 10. So you take a good swig, and as you put down the glass, you sort of see the room does this roll slowly and going back to normal. It's
All right.
a bit odd, but you feel you have to concentrate to not slur.
All right,
You
I'll
are
be.
officially poisoned and have 1 point of exhaustion due to drunkenness.
Jesus, that stuff is strong. I will. How many? Oh wait, that's not cure point, or is that? You can. What does that do?
Yes, you can.
Yes, neutralize. I will like casually, because I can tell that I've I can kind of casually tell I'll use 5 points of my, because I'm actually still damaged anyway. So this doesn't. I'll use 6 points of my lay on hands casually under the table and cure myself of the poison.
All right, lay on hand. I'd say make a stealth check. There's still going to be a slight glow to this. It's just to see if.
Well, I'm not wearing armor, so I do not get disadvantage to this.
No, but you're drunk. You have 1 point of exhaustion due to
So
drunkenness.
is that disadvantage then on skill checks?
Exhaustion. I believe it's.
The first one, yeah, it's disadvantage on all skill checks.
Okay, so then yes, it would be a disadvantage for the stealth. I still roll a 18. I actually am
18.
really good to stealth. I get a +3 to stealth if I don't have to roll a disadvantage. Because I have high dex.
All right, so you're there, and you just slip your hand under your butt, and you do this healing, this I just forgot the name. You're healing.
Yeah.
Lay on hands. Good lord, that was hard to come out. So you just slide your hand between your chair and your butt, and you lay on hand discreetly, and oof. Okay, that feels better. You lose the point of exhaustion due to drunkenness.
Yeah.
You,
I'll be like, oh, that's some strong. That's a strong brandy right there. Kind of slapped out my book.
and as you say this, you see Amy just have a smile that curls up her on her face as she got a natural 20 on her perception. she noticed that you just lay on hand yourself to recover from this, and she looks at you straight in your eyes and says, "You don't mind if I take a sip, do you?"
Oh, of course not. I'll pass over the glass like I will die if I drink this whole thing.
You see her take the pint, and you see her
really
take
did
a huge swig of it. You know, a good chug, and when she puts it down, feels like half of it is missing. She looks fine.
Audience falls deeply, deeply more in love. And also reminds himself not to ever get into a drinking contest with her.
No, you know, especially since monks are immune to poison at one point.
Yes. She makes a little mental note. Do not get into a drinking. We'll lose. I'll be like, I'm impressed. You enjoyed it?
Oh, it's not the worst that I've tasted. I've tasted things that will literally peel off paints of the wall. This is a good mid-level.
Excellent. So one day we'll have to try some of that harder stuff. Then I'll think to myself, why? Just shut up. Stop talking.
Would it make a perception roll?
I got a 14.
14, that's good enough to hear. When she says that this is a good middle level alcohol, and you start saying that I'll have to try this, you hear a half brother for. Yes, I will definitely tell you when I find such an ale. I will make sure to have one with me next time we meet.
Oh, good. Excellent. Did I say good already? I did. I'll say good again. Good.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk with her right now? Because I'm gonna go to the two other.
You can go to the other two because we'll time.
They seem to be having fun, but I'd still like to give them a bit of attention. All right. So Valtteri and Fisher, you get to the table with the orc, sitting as if he owned the place, waiting for you to arrive. Come on! Sit down!
I go sit down and plop it in front of him. Does this work?
Takes it, smells it, it'll do. And he takes a big chug. And he seems to be completely unaffected by it. You get a feeling that there's something about this that is a bit cheating, in the fact that he wasn't, not cheating from me, but cheating from something else. From the fact that he wasn't even fazed by this drink. Mm-hmm. Which the bartender sort of looked at you as if, who exactly are you gonna kill tonight? And come on, toy soldier, introduce me your... I don't know what to call you. You have a tail, you have horn, you look like a pet. But what exactly is her name?
Jesus Christ.
This is my companion, Valtteri. She's a tiefling. They generally do not appreciate being called a pet as much as I don't appreciate being called a toy soldier.
Well, you know what they say. You gotta earn respect. Come on, sit down. Come on, girl,
Cautiously sit down.
I'm standing.
Oh, well.
Gotta earn my respect.
Come on. Regale me with your adventures. Unless it's her adventures, and she's paying you to be her toy bodyguard. In that case, you should be the one talking.
She doesn't like to talk much. Well, haven't really gotten around to doing a lot much yet.
It shows, but still, talk.
When I woke up, I blew up the pirate boat I was on, along with most of the crew.
That's a good start.
Found myself in fuck, what's it called? Garth was on. Trained a bit. Left when I got to this this chain here and heard that the few remnants of the crew that didn't die in the explosion were still out and about making trouble. Thought I'd hunt them down.
Another unfinished battle.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those going right now.
Ah.
You may have to wait your turn.
I just hope you survive long enough.
On the way, trying to deal with that. Some random asshole of an assassin tried to kill me. So now I've been trying to get back at whoever sent him. And then I had a dream, which was really weird, because I don't really sleep. Told
And
me to come here.
And I didn't know machines could dream.
Neither did I until like a month ago. But yeah, and then after that, pretty much, I mean, we ran into you and your happy little band.
Well, I'm happy. I don't know about them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. Like I said, not a lot.
I see.
My memory only goes back about 3 or 4 years, so.
So you're a toy and a child. I'll have to remember that. Alright. Well, that's an interesting story. Enough. What about you? Your color seems to be changing the more we talk. What colorful adventures have you been into?
She's not saying anything. Just staring at him angrily.
Are you sure she knows how to talk?
Yes. However, I think she may be going by the phrase you said earlier, where respect has to be earned, and at least from her point of view, I don't think you've earned it.
Well, I can arrange that. I'll kill you two if we meet outside.
You really don't understand people, do you? I mean, I really don't understand people, but you don't seem to understand people in an entirely different way.
And what way would that be?
I'd like to say a good amount of people, generally, threatening to kill them is not how you earn their respect. Fear, probably. Respect, not so much.
You don't earn anything by making people fear you. Fear is temporary. As soon as you realize there's nothing to fear, the other lose their respect.
Right. There's also generally respect. I mean, obviously, I don't know about her, but I was the one that actually fought. So I respect your combat capabilities. You are definitely very skilled in that. However, I really don't respect you as a person.
I can understand it. Usually when two people fight, the one who loses, especially when they lose very badly, they don't feel like respecting the other person. Usually it's not a problem because they're dead. Let's just say that our duel had an unfortunate interruption.
Yeah, exactly. It's interrupted. I didn't lose.
You didn't win either.
No, neither did you.
This is why I said, next time we meet, we finish this. Outside of this place, of course.
Obviously. Well done.
I've seen many of them training during the day. Well, you can always ask them for help. I've trained a few times with that tall fellow, the one with the wings, the Naftan. He's a good swordsman. You could always join us. Learn a few things.
You know what to call an Afghan, but not a Tiefling?
Well, he has skills which impose respect. She got mauled by an animal.
If I remember correctly, she did a fair amount of mauling herself.
Yeah. But she was about to die.
Yeah, well, we're a little outnumbered. We're definitely a little green in the
I don't think it's
adventuring
called
department.
green at that point. I think it's called pasty. You know, like those thing people call alcohol when they just made it. It's thick, slushy green.
Uh-huh. Well, I might join you for some training later. We'll see about that. But in the meantime, I have some research to get back to.
Yes, of course.
Training of the mind is equally, if not as important, as training of the body.
It is, actually. Get a
I look at
feeling
him
you
kinda
also need training
quizzically.
on that point.
A little surprised by that. Then I'll, I guess, get up to leave. And then kind of turn around a little bit and be like, I can trust that, well, when we do meet outside of here, it will be a fair fight. No.
Always.
Good. And then I'll...
Duels are about honor. Winning without honor means nothing.
Making sure. And I'll leave.
Alright, have a nice night. And when she learns to talk, you can bring her back.
I'll kind of, yeah. I'm assuming Valkyrie is coming with me out of the inn.
I don't know. She seems to be very intent on trying to burn a hole through the floor. You can almost see the fumes.
Yeah.
More likely wanting to maul his face, but yeah, I'll follow Fisher.
Okay.
Should we find our own table or should we leave?
I mean, I would be happy to grab audience and have a little bit of a chat, but you know what? That's probably a good idea. Can I look around? Is it hard to find him?
Make a perception roll, and
Is it ever hard to find audience? He's quite loud.
The DC is going to be pretty low.
Oh. Non-natural 20.
You find him easily.
13.
You find him easily. You just scan the room, and oh, there he is. He's sitting on a table with the woman with the silver hair and a half-orc, who looks to be slowly and more enjoying the conversation that he's having with his half-sister, which you don't know yet is his half-sister.
Why do we have so many half-orcs here?
Oh no, the one that you just talked to is a full orc. He's not a half-orc.
Oh, okay. Why so many orcish people?
Well, Valtteri, you're more used to people spending time in the wild, so it's not too hard for you to realize that he's most likely a ranger or something similar to that. The half-orc.
Okay.
I'll approach the table.
Do I notice Fisher coming?
I don't know, how many swigs of alcohol did you take?
After she drank like half my mug, I've been what's called nursing it. And you take very little sips that don't actually really put much alcohol into your mouth.
So you're basically just letting the alcohol touch your lips and that's it.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm drinking, but if you pay attention to the level of liquid in my glass, you know I'm not.
You have a feeling that it's evaporating and not being drunk.
Fuck up.
So you
I
get
hope
to the,
our friend here isn't bothering you.
You see this table, when you get to the table, you get the feeling that audience is nursing a mixture of admiration, humiliation, and pride. And you get the feeling that the monk is having a great time. And you get the feeling the half-orc is having fun looking at this monk having fun. This is the picture that jumps at your face when you arrive.
Oh, having fun, are we, audience?
Fisher, my man, here. Try this drink for me. I give him a pleading look in his eyes, like, please drink this. It's excellent.
I will just kind of stare at him. And then...
Valtteri, you have a pretty good passive insight, I believe.
Wait, is a 14 okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
You know he can't drink, right?
No, actually, for sure you really don't have a good passive insight.
I can't read
so
people.
he's handing you this mug of alcohol, which you probably have the same reaction as Valtteri just had, except Valtteri, with your passive insight, you look at audience and you see the pleading look in his eyes that says, please take it and finish it?
Oh, fine, I don't have the spells either to help you.
So,
What do you
I
say,
mean-
Fisher?
I mean, if I destroy water, can I also destroy it with alcohol?
Well, actually, if you take out the water from alcohol, you're gonna end up with pure alcohol.
Okay, never mind.
way worse.
Then I can't help you, my friend. I'll just look at them like, is Fisher getting what he wants him to do?
I'll look down at audience and go, oh yeah, totally. I'll just drink this.
Oh, I'll say, good. I'll hand him the cup.
I'll just kind of I'll lean over to Valtteri and be like, yeah, so I never got around to figuring out how to tell people I'm being sarcastic. I don't think he noticed.
I mean,
As he says that, Valtteri, you hear the half-orc go...
give it to me.
We'll hand her the glass.
The
I'll
half pint.
To a person who's never drunk alcohol, this will be great.
Just gonna die.
I look at audience and like with an are you serious look.
What is audience's passive insight?
Probably as bad
Oh,
as
it's barely better than Fisher. You get a feeling that she's pleading something with her eyes, but you have a hard time because she
I'll be
doesn't
like,
know what's in.
of course. Ami, I haven't introduced my French. How rude of me. This is my companions, Fisher and Valtteri. Point to them. Also, did I ever get the brother's name? I don't think I did, so I wouldn't.
No, because when came the time to introduce himself, he said he was annoyed.
So I have no idea what his name is. I'll just say Ami then, because I don't know the brother's name.
She gets up playfully and she just extends a hand to you, Valtteri. A pleasure to meet you.
pleasure to meet you too. And I guess I also take her hand and shake it.
When you take her hand, she leans in very close, barely an inch, half an inch from your ear, and you hear her whisper, "You really don't have to drink this." And she leans back.
Okay. Is she also greeting Fisher, or?
Oh yes, immediately after, she turns around and, "Fisher, what an odd name, but always a pleasure meeting adventurers from around the world." And she extends a hand to you.
Shake it. Likewise. I hope you haven't been too annoyed
Absolutely
by audience
not.
here.
Your friend is very entertaining, very fun to have around the table. And it is always a pleasure to meet someone you have already met.
Audience in his mind, fun, entertaining. He's made it.
I look to the half-orc and I'm like, and what is your name?
I am Coriland. I am this kind woman half-brother.
Is he like the like? Okay. Can we sit down or?
Oh, definitely you can sit down. I don't think my sister would have it any other way. No, please join us, join us. It is always we're here exactly for this. We're all adventurers. We're here because we were drawn by something. Please, please join us. You hear half-brother say, and don't worry, she's not gonna try and poison you. She said,
What?
brother, you know I'd only do this to bards.
Okay.
Audience decides not to mention that other people have told him that he has the potential to be bards.
Okay.
I mean, you could go ahead and try, but I don't think you'd get very far with me.
She could.
In the poisoning department.
Bet you she has ways. I would start that challenge.
She looks playfully at you and says, oh, there's always ways. But don't worry. I can clearly see that you are not a bard. And just to make sure that my brother's explanation do not just fester in your mind, our father was a bard, and so we are well aware of their ways and sometimes the little care they put into what happens after you conquer someone's heart. This is only playful payback. Don't worry, I never killed someone who didn't try to kill me first. And you hear half-brother say, and strangely enough, it happens more than you'd think.
Okay then. So, what about the people outside of the garden? I guess you've also met like the little rogues trying to get the coins.
No. Actually, there wasn't anyone there when we came here. We've been here for almost a week. We've heard rumors about this, but then again, we didn't get in from Drozhill. We just made our own way. So maybe we just missed them.
Okay. That's odd.
Well, if you would excuse us, we have some things to talk about.
We do?
Yeah, no, I found some stuff out.
About what?
I went to the library.
I don't think he's in the shape for this right now.
What did you find at the library?
You know what? Maybe you're right. You know what? We'll talk about it in the morning. How's that?
I mean, we're all friends here. I'm sure you can tell us what you found in the library.
Well, I think it would be better if
Okay,
each
I'm
of
gonna
us-
get up and leave.
I think it's the better if we are all in a more sober state to talk about it.
Oh, you get the feeling that audience is very sober. In
Oh,
fact,
sure
he
Physically
is
sober,
oddly
yes.
sober.
Is, however,
Non-intelligent.
emotionally not sober.
Also, just not really intelligent to begin with.
Ah, come on, don't sell yourself short. You know, I have your sheet right here. You'd be able to finish high school. Not much more, but you'd be able to finish that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, Fisher's gonna head back to his room. Actually, you know what? No, Fisher's gonna go back to the stream.
Okay.
Can I take my sentry rest doing what I was doing earlier?
You want to take your sentry rest inside the stream?
Yeah.
Sure, you can.
Dear God.
You know, there's even a pond a little bit further. You could really submerge yourself there.
To the pond.
So you see Fisher get up and go through the door that Valtteri got in, which means this one leads to the Arboretum.
Is he talking with Fish again?
He's gonna talk with the fishes all night.
I'll look confused. I'll say, my friend must have gotten distracted. I can't always tell what he's thinking.
I guess.
You hear that fork say, yes, this tends to happen more frequently than I'd like to. You hear Amy say, like, come on, don't start being all this depressed and philosophical. Lighten up a bit. Here, and she takes the drink away from you, Valtteri. Here, take a drink. And she hands it to her half-brother, who has this smile coming back on his face. And, no, I really don't want to take this from our guest. And he pushes back toward you, audience.
How much is left at, like, this point?
Nothing's being drunk. Fisher didn't take anything. Valtteri just looked at it.
So there's, like, about... So there's probably, like, a quarter of it left.
Oh, half? No, half. No one drank from it. She drank half. You drank one gulp. So it's half minus one gulp.
Okay. I'll say, well, guess no one else wants this. And I'll kind of give a short prayer to the dragon gods, and then I'll just drink the entire rest of the half cup.
Oh,
just
good.
in one big gulp.
Make a constitution save at disadvantage.
I look at Amiali like, really now?
Oh, you see her, she's smiling, and the smile goes almost all the way to her ears, and she's just looking at audience.
You're the one carrying him into his room.
She leans to you and says, don't worry, they have people for this.
Okay.
Alright, that was a good roll. One more. Ooh, unfortunate. Well, my first roll was an unnatural 20, which would have been nice, and then my second roll was a 5. So.
Oh, so you take this huge swing and you really...
I down the rest of the cup. The rest of the cup's gone.
Oh yes, you just down it, and for a moment you have this feeling that if you move, you're just gonna drop. You take a good breath and you slowly raise your head to where it was just before, and you see the room still moving. Again, you are poisoned and have 1 point of exhaustion, and I am warning you, no matter what you do, because you're so close to the second point of exhaustion, if you have to make another saving throw for a constitution, you make it at disadvantage, and you feel it, that you're just on the edge of this second exhaustion point.
Luckily, I have 5 points of lay on hands left. But this time I'm way too drunk to think about hiding it, so I just kind of slap my face. You just see eyes kind of slap his face, and his hand just starts glowing, like, on his face.
So you see him just give himself a good slap, look sort of kind to wake you up, but also you see this light coming from his hand,
and then I'm not poisoned. I go, oh, yeah, all right. That's enough of that.
I'll turn to the brother and I'm like, I've noticed that you're a ranger and just completely ignore what I've just seen with audience.
Oh boy, you talk to him and he doesn't answer back to anything you're saying, but because you have enough insight, you realize that he is working so hard to not start laughing. Really, you know, when you look at someone and they're, aha.
I tip his shoulder. Rude.
Oh no, he is genuinely working to try and not to start laughing.
No, rude that he's not answering my question.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
I have noticed by your outfit, I guess, that you're probably a ranger.
Yes, I do spend a lot of time in nature. Why don't we go talk about this somewhere else? Maybe in nature.
Okay.
You even see the little compression in his stomach as he's trying to hold back this laugh. And
You want to go outside and left there, I whisper to him.
he just says,
Okay. I guess I go outside with him then, also towards the auditorium.
All right, so audience, you're left alone with the love of your life.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep.
And how did you like this fine drink?
Oh, it was excellent. Not I like a little more fuller flavor, but it got the job done.
Really? She stands up, takes you by the arm, locks her arm around yours, and said, "Well then, let's go try some other kinds." And she tries and drag you toward the bar.
Oh, yeah, I have no lay on hands left. But I can't say no, so I'll be like, of course, let's go try more alcohol.
And unfortunately, as audience looks back to find a friend, he sees that he is completely alone. Fisher has left. Valtteri is leaving with Amy's half-brother. And I believe this is a good place to stop this session, as audience is going to do his best to survive this drinking night.
What could go wrong?
Constructs probably have a stomach pump around here somewhere.
And I'm pretty sure right now that even though audience is not drunk, he is feeling pretty warm. After
Well,
all,
I'm also just feeling pretty warm. I mean, Amy just locked arms with me. you know?
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh my god.
God, I gotta take the sweatshirt off. It's getting hot. Jesus.
This is getting weirder and weirder. Oh, boy.
Yeah, but it's a good kind of weird. No matter what happens, you survive.
I hope. I have the feeling that not only Fisher will be the only one I have to get out of the lake.
Why do I feel so much like the high school freshman right now who got like invited to like the senior table with like the one senior cheerleader, and then she was like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, come drink with me," but I had like
This is
never
so
drank
lit.
before.
Well,
It's like the neighbor from like across the street too.
to be completely honest, I believe that this evening will probably end like this because Fisher goes straight toward the pond and submerge and does his sentry rest underwater. Valtteri, you just leave this place and you hear the half-orc laugh, almost fall to the ground on his knees laughing. And audience, oddly enough, you don't remember much of what happens after this.
That's fair.
Unless you really don't, you really want to try and avoid drinking.
I don't. She'd be like, "Here, try this," and I'd be like, "Oh, of course."
And in his head is like, what have I done?
Totally
I
succumb
hope.
to the peer pressure.
Absolutely.
So you only have fragmented fragmented memories of trying a variety of drink from around the world. And you hear the playful laugh and slightly flirty laugh of Amiali ringing in your head.
He slid into the DMs. He's in the DMs.
All right, so well, this was a nice exploration of the garden. I guess we will see what happens tomorrow as everyone recovers from the emotional implication of today's session.
Oh, only one person really has to recover. And that
One
person
second.
I have to fish out of a river or a pond.
Oh, really? So you really feel no emotional consequences from getting
Oh, I'm
called
gonna
a
rip.
pet?
Oh, I'm gonna rip his face off. But
All right, everyone. So thank you all for watching. And remember, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation or becoming a Patreon. Or you can just spread the word, because the more the merrier in this case. So, stay safe, stay healthy, especially in these trying times, and we'll see you all again next Wednesday. Bye!
bye-bye.
Bye.